Hey guys, welcome back. Netflix just released a documentary called Unknown Number, a high school catfish. And I just happened to graduate with the catfish person. So, what are my thoughts now that I've watched it? And let's get into it. Now, before the documentary came out, I had briefly heard on Facebook through a couple of graduates of mine through high school that this girl was going to be on this documentary about a catfishing story with her daughter. That's all I kind of knew about the story. Now, as far as this girl goes, I didn't really know her very much. Her name was Kendra. I had briefly probably spent some time with her in class. Who knows? I knew who she was. She was kind of on the basketball team and whatnot. And she did kind of give off a kind of a weird vibe in high school, but nothing outrageous. Kind of a normal person in general. I didn't really think anything of her at the time when I was in high school. So I ended up watching this thing last night, and I don't want to spoil it all for you. It was a sad, disturbing, kind of made me angry. Those were my initial feelings and thoughts about this thing in general. Now, the sad and disturbing thing was what this woman did to her daughter and a bunch of other middle school kids, kids who were 13, 14 years old. She was texting her daughter and this little boyfriend of hers all these nasty, disgusting things. I mean, things that you would never imagine a mother would ever say to her daughter or anyone else for that matter. And she was involved with the school, like she was like a coach and just involved in the community in general. And to think that this person for years involved in the community would all of a sudden change her ways mentally up here and just get absolutely disgusting when it comes to smart devices or mobile phones and texting. Okay, so that's what happened in the story. And it ruined a lot of people's lives when it comes to like their children growing up in middle school. I mean, these kids, as these texts were coming out, they were blaming each other, right? And that's what kids do, right? They would say, oh, this kid doesn't like this kid. Let's blame them. Let's check their phones. And then the police got involved and were interviewing these kids at the principal's office at the school. And then, it ruined a lot of relationships, I'm certain, at those middle school or high schools in general. And so at the end of the day, they got the FBI involved, and then finally they could do some search warrants, get the IP addresses, and lo and behold, this girl Kendra that I graduated with, she was the culprit of sending 700 pages worth of nasty text messages. Absolutely disgusting. I can't say them on YouTube because they're that bad. And you gotta wonder, guys, what are we doing in this world? What are we doing with these smartphones? They are turning people into zombies, guys. They are changing the brain chemistry, the neurology up here for most normal people. Normal people now are turning into crazy people, guys, because you have this anonymous persona behind your smartphone or behind your computer, okay? And the thing about it is, I'm seeing it more and more. You're seeing it on YouTube, guys. People are going crazy and they're getting addicted to these phones. Whether it's social media, whether it's AI, those two things alone are so powerful to the human neurological brain that they can't get off of it. They're doing things that are just not normal, to be honest. And who knows what triggers these things? It could be your age. It could be something, she did mention she had some problem back in high school. I'm not going to name what it was, but she was traumatized back then. Maybe that came up and then turned her into this crazy person on her smartphone. Who knows? But you're seeing it more and more. You're seeing people have mental issues in this country. And we all keep talking about it. We all keep talking about mental health, mental health, mental health. But nobody's doing anything about it. We don't have any place to go if you have mental problems. I'm going through it right now in my family. I know all about it. there's no way to go. There's two places. It's either jail or the hospital. Those are the only two places that you can go for mental health type of issues. And I'm telling you, it's mostly from these smartphones. And so that was the sad and disturbing part about this documentary. However, there's another part to it that pissed me off. It made me angry, okay? And it was the fact that all the parents in this high school allowed their children to continue to use their smartphones and keep them on them. When there's this stalker, of course, no one knew it was the mom, but there was this stalker in the community that were stalking these young 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids for about 2.5 years, okay? What are the parents doing? Why aren't you guys taking away the phones? They do not need these smartphones, guys. I grew up in the 1990s and 2000s, and I didn't have them. And most people who are 35 and older never had them either in high school or junior high. Guys, what are you doing giving your kids a smartphone with all these capabilities in junior high when they don't even need them? I didn't need them. I turned out just fine, to be honest. You know, most people my age or 35 and older, they turned out just fine. Okay, maybe not this girl Kendra because she got a hold of a smartphone. Okay, so we got some decisions to make in this country and in this world, for that matter. These smartphones, these things right here, are just as bad as giving a 13-year-old a license to drive a vehicle. They really are. They psychologically mess up young people in general, whether it's social media, whether it's some freak texting you, doesn't matter what it is. It has some vulnerabilities when it comes to a 13-year-old or 15-year-old or 16-year-old. I mean, to be honest, I almost say just not even allow it until they're 18. Give them something to look forward to instead of giving it to them at 12 and 13 years old, guys. I don't care if that's how they communicate. We should just end that, to be honest. They can't drive until they're 16. They can't even drink alcohol until they're 21. You think that a cell phone is not as dangerous as alcohol? It is these days. These kids are having problems from it. And then they're gonna have the rest of their lives with these stupid smartphones. And then they're just gonna go into these additional dopamine hits on all these platforms and just not know how to focus in life and just have psychological issues left and right. And I'll tell you what, guys, this will not be the last documentary for Netflix. We're gonna see this happen more and more and more. It'll be a different story, but it already has happened. It happens all the time on social media. You get people bullying or just weirdos out there that can sit behind and be a keyboard warrior. And it's disgusting. We've got a lot of problems to think about, and we need to protect our children. We keep talking about protecting our children, protecting our children. Well, I'm gonna do it by not having my kids have a smartphone, at least until they're probably 18, to be honest. I know probably people in the comments will say, good luck with that, man, good luck. No, I'm not gonna let them. They're just gonna have one of these little smart watches with no texting and just a phone. Okay, my daughter had one, it broke recently, but they're 99 bucks, and all you can do is call out to your parents. That's all you need it for, so you can pick up your kid from band practice or football practice, soccer, whatever it is. And even then, back in the 90s, I didn't have them. You know, no one had this stuff. We had to just, you know, say, hey, come pick me up at 8 o'clock after practice. And guess what? If your parents were late, you had to sit there and do nothing, right? You had to maybe ponder some things in life, ponder your life, maybe think about that girl you liked, right? While you waited for your parents to pick you up because band practice ended early or football practice ended early. Again, you don't need these stupid smartphones. You really don't. I mean, I would say the most you should give their kids is a smartwatch that just has no texting, no internet, no nothing but the phone, okay? You can phone your kid. That's all you need, okay? Now, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, your kid's not susceptible to problems in the world. They probably still have access to a laptop, no doubt. They can probably still get on these social media platforms. So you do need to watch your kids, even with the computer. I'm going to be very vigilant with my kids. My wife is all over it, man. She ain't going to let up on that stuff. So your kids still are vulnerable in general without a smartphone. So be careful about that. Be aware of that. And just don't assume anyone out there is the nice guy. Stop trusting in so many people, to be honest, because the other mom that was involved in this story, who was the boy involved, the boyfriend, she was friends with this Kendra for 2 years. They were going into the principal's office, you know, she was playing it out like, oh no, it's not me, you know, in a sense. The other mom was totally, you know, dumbfounded by this Kendra lady. So, you know, you got to be careful out there, guys. Always, you know, never assume that the people you know wouldn't be the people doing this type of stuff, because they're out there, and these smartphones are just creating zombies out of all of us, including myself. I've found myself diving deep into certain rabbit holes from time to time. It just depends on what hits you in your feed, whether it's YouTube, whether it's X or Facebook, whatever it is. It can take you down a deep, dark rabbit hole, and then who knows, your brain may trigger something, and you may become a different person. So just be aware of what you're consuming out there, how you're using your phone, and take this story as a, you know, a life lesson. Like, man, we need to not give our kids these smartphones. At the end of the day, that's what angered me the most. You know, you guys know that I've talked about these smartphones from time to time. I watch other content creators complain about these smartphones. They really are kind of the root of all evil nowadays. So you got to be real careful with them. You can be strategic with them. I am, you know, when it comes to coding and building content, but we got to do better, guys. We got to do better, as well as content creators. As content creators, we got to do better and try to promote living a healthy cyber life, whatever that may be, you know. So anyways, let me know if you guys do watch the Netflix documentary. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Again, you know, I only graduated with her. I didn't really know her too well. But yeah, I just thought those are my feelings about the documentary. And anyways, if you guys like this content, like and subscribe. Take a look at my previous video. And everyone, have a great evening. Later.